Hey guys, it's me, Passport Road Visuals, back at it with another one. And yeah, sorry for the hiatus. I've been kind of busy, so yeah. So this topic here, I want to talk about the Passport Bros, and I think it's in a sense its eventual end, so to speak. Despite my name title, I think the Passport Bros is going to eventually end, probably for the next year or two. It's not gonna like end again, but it's just people not really gonna mess with it. And I think it's really gonna show probably next year or two for sure. I think a lot of brothers will kind of push back on it, especially next year when it comes to travelers. So basically, get it started. I think that we just have to be honest. We as black men in comparison to white men, and it's not all of us, but like I say, we move differently. We don't move the same way as they do. You know, we've been traveling a long time too, but they've been traveling way longer, and they have more money as a collective race to go and go more frequently. Plus, some of them they work jobs where they don't have to be at a work overseas at a company for like 6 months at a time, at least. But the point is, they got more money. So the issue goes down to how you move. We want to complain about certain brothers over here moving how they move in regards to the ladies, but some of us going over there to these different countries trying to move the same way that we complain about and all that sort of stuff while they essentially tricking. You know, and it just the way we move with the YouTube as far as the pastor bros as a collective. It being online is like it's kind of problematic because it brings too much attention. We as blacks, especially as a collective, we very polarizing. You know what I'm saying? And the problem with it is that it's not always a bad thing, but it's not always a good thing either. So when you're out there, doing this, and it's the worst form of what we're doing, in the sense, it's going to lead to a lot of problems. And again, it goes back to how you move. White men they've been doing this a long time, and I think like I say, we chocolate, they vanilla. You know, we more energetic, they more laid back. And I wouldn't be surprised if they laid backness. That goes to like, hey, a guy who's like mid 40s, you got a wife, or he's kind of whatever with his own race of women. Another Asian white guy, he can go overseas. Some Southeast Asian women. You know what I'm saying? And it's all good. Or his woman cheating on him, and he don't really care about it. He can just go overseas and trick. You know, you know, and do that real quick. If you with an Asian woman, and he goes over there, he do that the same thing. Of course, she'll probably know. What I've been saying, based off what goes down. But these countries they cracking down, especially in South America, and they're going to try to spread that to other countries, especially in Southeast Asia, even more developed nations as well. Because to be fair, they're not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts to end, sex toys. They're not doing it for them. They're doing it for the fact of, whose money is more valuable. Our money, as far as black men or white men. The white man's money is more valuable. You know what I'm saying? Because he's over there more frequently. He can be over there longer, And, but like I say, it goes back to how you move. He's doing what he's doing. He's in and out. He's covert about it, It doesn't matter if you see a bunch of old men at a red light district bar just drinking beers. What's going on, They got plenty of channels on their side, but they're not really talking so much about that. They're having a good time doing interviews with different types of people. They doing their videos with the clubs or restaurants, having a good time. Like, we're not even over there engaging with the locals at all. You know what I'm saying? Just over there tricking. You're not hanging out with the locals. You're not trying to get to know these people in any capacity. Like, you're not even trying to get to know the women that you trick on, you know? So, like I say, it just goes back to how you do it. And the countries, as messed up as it is, that's good money, you know, for the economies. It ain't right, but for them, that's, as of right now, for them, that's good money. And all they're gonna do is just simply, you know, do what they can to crush the passport bro movement as much as possible and get back to what it was before, to some level of normalcy. And it's gonna pop off with the chicken, you know. And once it does that, hey, you know, they'll let the black men have Dominican Republic, you know. They let them have Haiti. But like I say, it's all about how you move, you know. And we're not moving the way that we're supposed to in other countries based off, you know, cultural reasons or just how people think we should, you know. But these other places, like I say, for them, they're not perfect. But like I say, they over there, young, middle-aged, old, with YouTube channels, interviewing people, talking to people. You know, you may know that they with the trigger. They don't really say that in a sense on the channel, on their respective channels. With us, they know it's implied. So, you know, that's what's going on with that. I'm telling you, it sounds like Brazil, Colombia, all this is going to affect places passport bros go. And I think Southeast Asia will be next. Because like I said, they'd rather squeeze you out and just keep the whites getting the money. And the white man, you can still go to Dominican Republic. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, you know, we move wrong sometimes. You know, and us trying to trick and making the block hot and making it polarizing, it's not the thing to do. Stop worrying about what other people doing something about moving and worry about how you move, you know? And that's the thing we don't really want to discuss, you know, that's messing us up. So, again, like I say, them channels, you know, they over there, per se tricking or whatever, but hey, a lot of their content ain't fully that, you know? They join the clubs, they going to like different events in them countries, you know, like a pool party or like some beach event or something like that, you know, a museum or something, you know. They doing other things other than tricking. We just wasting time in these countries just tricking. And, you know, people get tired of that and they get old fast. And that's what they start to pay attention to. But like I say, because we're so polarizing, you know, that's why it blew up so popular. You know what I'm saying? But that polarization brings the wrong type of attention. And in other countries, despite being wrong to have sex tourism or do nothing about it, this is a way of doing something about it. They're going to do what they can to crush the passport bros enough to get it back to somewhat what it was before, so they can get, like I say, the white men, Asian men, South American men to go back, you know, and get back, you know, with the tricking. Because they will. Because as soon as they leave, they're going to come at you. Like I said, it was never this sex tourism, or whatever you want to call it, was not this polarizing on YouTube before Passport Bros. Passport Bros is born out of COVID, and it's born out of the remote job wave. You know, and that's all that really is. So, of course, it was not going to last really at all, you know. But like I say, it's all about how you move, and we just haven't moved the right way. And I'm telling you, like, you're going to see a lot of brothers, too. If it ain't this year, it's definitely going to be next year. You're going to see a lot of black male, possibly a lot of black male travelers vocally pushing back on the Passport Bros on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Because to be fair, this kind of does need to stop. But again, it goes back to how you move. I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's the truth. We have to have those discussions about how we move. That shit, the white man can go over there. You know what I'm saying? He's dealing with a woman that he's dealing with in the States. You know what I'm saying? He's probably cheating or whatever, but he don't care. If he goes there, do what he got to do, and he leaves. You know? That's why a lot of them is less stress when it comes to relationships in certain cases. You know what I'm saying? So, that's something to think about. But, all we doing is just being glorified weekend warriors, and want to live vicariously to others. That's why we got to be, be better than that. But if you want to be on that type of time, be low key about it. And I think that's where the Patrick brothers, kind of fell at. So, and it's just not going to last anyway no longer. And to be fair, in a sense, it was better before the Patrick brothers, because it just, like I say, it just didn't have this level of attention, and that attention is a big problem. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, once them dudes move out of Sasua, Southeast Asia, Brazil, Colombia, they're coming after the Patrick brothers, and they're going to get ready, and they still want the tripping in regards to money for their nations. But they'd rather get it and have people not associate with it, come there, do what they do, and pay and leave. It's really messing up their budget, and you don't really realize it in regards to that industry, despite how wrong it is, it really gets in the way. So, and that's just something to think about. As far as the Patrick side, people that's looking to join the Patrick Bros, it's definitely something to think about, because, like I say, if I want a trip in Vietnam, Thailand, I can live there for 3 weeks. I want to spend 3 weeks straight, like 2 days, 3 at once, and then enjoy the rest of the 2.5 weeks. Okay? Get to know people, all different events and things like that. And that's what it's supposed to be. That's what traveling is about. So I think that's, on a trip, do that too, but don't waste the whole trip. Try to trick. So, that's what it is. So, that's just my thoughts on this, and we'll get back to posting. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.